You want to get into it?
Let's do it.
How's it going? I'm Karina.
I'm Clark.
And welcome to It's Always Spooky.
It's always spooky.
Hey.
That's all I've got in me today.
So today we're following up Midnight Mass. This time we're going to do episodes 3 and 4.
Ooh.
So episode 3 is called Proverbs. And then episode 4 is Lamentations.
Yeah.
But obviously we're going to start with episode 3. I feel like I'm in the same boat as you where episode 3, I didn't write a ton of notes. I did write notes, but not a ton of them.
Should I quickly source IMDb's episode summary?
Oh, that's a great idea because I actually really liked how concise IMDb's summaries
I did too. I was surprised.
Hundy.
All right. So
I'll pull up trivia.
starting with episode 3, Proverbs, IMDb states, miraculous times leave residents stunned as Lisa pays Joe an important visit. A shocking confession reveals what really happened to Monsignor Pruitt. There's just so many things that happen in every episode that it's hard to easily summarize it.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm glad that IMDb is like, all right, here's the main points. We're just going to call it.
No, that's super, super helpful because, yeah, episode 3 and episode 4, we're definitely like in the thick of the show now.
Yeah.
Right? We've gotten all the exposition out of the way and now we're starting to answer questions. And episode 3 has a very good like answer to a question.
Yeah.
And since we're not really going to be doing like we already did the synopsis, but I don't really think we need to do themes.
No, because it's kind of the same.
So we can just pop straight into favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I guess really the only like commentary that I wanted to say about this episode was that Flanagan does an impeccable job at foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like those first 2 episodes, there were so many things that were just kind of like minor details that I was like, this is a little strange, but I don't think it's going to matter. Everything matters.
Everything.
All of it. Like all of it ties into something else where as soon as you get that answer, you're like, what the fuck? So that means this and this and this and this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I really love about Flanagan's works. He's really good at Easter eggs, really good at foreshadowing. And I like how this whole show is only 7 episodes. And so every episode has to be very concise.
Yeah.
It has, but there's so much that happens in every episode. I'm continuously blown away by this show. Like watching it again, I picked up so many other things that I hadn't picked up the first couple of times.
Yeah, and it's following so many storylines that
Absolutely.
It's easy. Like if I were a filmmaker, I feel like it could be really easy for me to get lost in trying to go too far in each of those storylines with every episode. And then it turns into like, oh, this is the Riley episode. This this is the Joe episode.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
is this episode. But he does a really good job at sharing the wealth with every episode.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And not feeling like anybody's a moot point character either. Like I think it's nice in this nice, concise town of Crockett Island. You only have 127 residents, right? And so every character that you focus on, there are a lot of them, but they all support the narrative in their own way. And none of them feel gratuitous.
No.
None of them feel like he was really reaching or he was trying to like, he was trying to do it just for the sake of diversity.
Yeah.
I felt like all of them had like a very specific purpose for why like they were there in the narrative.
Yeah, he the way that he makes visual content reminds me very much so of the way that King makes written content, where it is very character driven and all of these characters very naturally flow with what they would do. It doesn't seem like there's anything excessive. It doesn't seem like they do anything that would really be out of character for them.
Right.
But it all ties into the plot so well. And that's one of the things I recently saw a TikTok of Stephen King where he was saying, oh, with this book, what I was going to try to do, I think it was for Needful Things. He was like, I wanted to write like a whodunit and this sort of thing. But the hard part for me was that I'm not a plot driven writer. I'm a character driven writer. And so trying to write a whodunit and try to take inspiration from all of these different sources and make it a plot narrative, I was like, how do people do this?
Right.
And it seems like Flanagan is very much so the same, where he has a general concept of like what plot narrative he wants to have, but he's letting the characters kind of create it as they're going too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So do you have any honorable mentions for favorite?
I do have one. There are quite a few difficult conversations that happen in episode 3. Or I guess not necessarily difficult conversations, but like very emotionally big conversations that happen throughout this episode.
Yeah.
And so, or I guess the honorable mention that I have is when all of the parents in the town are collected in the schoolhouse and they're having a conversation about the Bible being handed out in school because Sheriff has found a Bible in Ollie's bag. His name's Ollie, right?
His son's name is Ollie.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the sheriff's name is Hassan.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hassan finds a Bible in Ollie's bag and he gets upset at the fact that the Bible is being shared in public school.
Right.
And so they're having this conversation about whether or not it's appropriate for a Bible to be given out in public school and kind of whether or not it's appropriate for religion to be taught in school in general.
Yeah, it's
And
very interesting.
it's a conversation that's happened a lot in real life. Like there's always the battle between should religion be taught in school or not. It's currently happening. Like I think it's in Texas. They just said that like prayer should be in school and the 10 Commandments should be in the classroom and that sort of stuff. And so it felt like it was very good timing to be watching this episode.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going back and forth mostly between Hassan and Bev, talking about whether or not this is appropriate. And Erin kind of pipes in for a second and says that she, I am a part of the same congregation as most of the people in this room, so you know where my beliefs land. But also, I agree with him in the way, and she like starts to say that she doesn't think that religion should be taught in school. But then Bev takes over the narrative like she always does.
Right.
And starts kind of saying that like, well, I vet everything that I say and I'm not going to say anything that's inappropriate to the kids. And I wouldn't be mad if somebody were to quote the Quran in school, but there's so much of that that's also not necessarily appropriate or is mean and it's something to that effect. And I think my favorite part of that scene, even though I think the whole thing is an honorable mention, is Bev saying that it's no different to have a Bible in the room than a history or a science book. And one of the few things that Erin like cuts her off with is like, it's actually very different.
It's a completely different.
Yeah. And I just thought that was like so well put because she knows she can only get a few words in.
Oh God,
in
right.
this conversation.
Yeah.
And so she's just like, no, it's actually really different.
Yeah, I'm sure Erin has probably known Bev her entire life, even when she was a little girl. And so Bev has probably always had like a role of authority over Erin.
Yeah.
Right. And she can shut her down at the drop of a hat a lot of times.
Yeah. That was...
I'm glad you brought that scene up because that's a fantastic scene.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it's hard for me too, right? Because I can't isolate a lot of these scenes from this show because I've seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm glad we do the summaries too.
This show also starts with Father Paul in the confessional booth and talking to no one. He's essentially talking
He's
to God.
He's not confessing to anybody because,
No.
who would hear him?
Yeah.
He's the priest
the guy.
there.
Yeah. What's he going to do? Confess to Bev? Like,
yeah, exactly.
she doesn't have the authority.
He's confessing to God, obviously.
Yeah, he's confessing to the guy. And so I really love the way that these episodes are built because I think his confessional started in episode 2 and then continued in episode 3.
I think you're right.
And I really love the way that confessional dynamic goes where he's giving a little bit of like an overarching theme of what's happening, and then you get story with it, and then you get a little bit more of the overarching theme, and then you get story from all of the townspeople.
Definitely.
Like he starts with saying something about like these miracles are about to happen, or there are more miracles to come.
Yeah.
And then you see townspeople that are starting to heal. You see like...
Oh, I love those montages.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my honorable mentions as well because I kind of like those. There's this kind of lightheartedness to it in contrast to this ominous kind of foreboding moment with like Father Paul in the confessional being like, forgive me, Father, for I'm going to sin. I'm going to lie to these people about their priest. And I'm going to prepare them for what's to come. And, I'm going to show them like I don't think he says miracles, but it's something to that effect.
Yeah.
Because he has a very specific plan in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I hate it.
But I will piggyback off of you if that's the end of your.
Oh no, I do have my actual favorite.
Oh, absolutely.
So my actual favorite, which had me an emotional wreck, is Lisa's monologue with Joe was so gut wrenching and so raw and real. Like that to me was a conversation that like it didn't feel scripted. It felt like somebody who had experienced that pain and experienced that sort of trauma speaking to the person who traumatized them. It felt word for word like something that would happen in real life.
Oh, absolutely. Both of those actors did such a good job.
Oh, they killed it.
Oh
man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene too.
I was going to like write down parts of it and I'm like, this is actually really long.
But you're like, I couldn't write enough about it.
No, and it wouldn't have the same impact. Like this is a favorite scene that you really just have to like pause the episode really quick, go watch that part of the episode and come back in tears, and then we'll continue.
You will understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, it's a fantastic scene. I will quickly lay it out for you, for people who haven't seen it or whatever. Lisa Scarborough, the daughter of the mayor and the mayor's wife, she was paralyzed by Joe when she was a young girl. They don't actually specify how long she's been paralyzed for.
No, I don't really think they ever say what age she was.
If I'm going to guess, because after episode 2, she does walk. So
yeah,
she has to walk with a cane after seeing the doctor. So she must not have been paralyzed for that long. I'm thinking maybe a couple of years. How long would it actually take? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But how long would it take your muscles to deteriorate so far to the point where like you would have to do some serious physical therapy in order to actually physically be able to walk?
Yeah, because they do talk about how much her muscles have atrophied in her legs and how like even when she's walking, I'm terrible with names in these shows for some reason. Riley's little brother.
Warren.
Yeah, even when she's walking with Warren, he's like, well, should I like carry your backpack for you or something? Like,
and
does
she
it
says
hurt?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, she says like, it doesn't hurt, right? Like, but I do find that interesting because I thought in my brain, oh, okay, well, maybe if the bullet wound was healed, maybe her legs were healed too, right? But the Dr. Sarah did say like, your muscles have atrophied a little bit. So here, we'll give you this cane to walk with.
Yeah.
So we don't actually know. But Lisa's going to confront Joe because now that she can walk again, there's been some time too. They go through this whole montage, right, of like everybody slowly getting better, kind of going back to normal, having happier memories. And she's had several memories with Warren where she's, gone out on the boat or like they've been down at the beach and, like two little lovebirds.
Doing gross little shit.
Little like teenage shit. But, as they should.
Yeah.
And so she's going to forgive Joe because she knows that he's been beating himself up probably more than anybody else. But the rest of the town is also completely like ostracized him as a result of it.
Yeah.
And she's realized, and it's because she's a very faithful woman, that in order for him to really like forgive himself, she has to forgive him.
Yeah.
So she gives him this really, really great speech about how, she's still mad at him, but he needs to get out of his own way and live his life. There's,
I think, one of the most impactful statements that she said, or at least the thing that punched me in the heart the most, was and I'm going to paraphrase, but there's a statement throughout this monologue where she says, you traveled through time and took away things from me without without you even knowing, without me even knowing what those things are. And she's like, you took things from me now and you took things from my future. You took opportunity from me.
Yeah, that was a very powerful line. I'm trying to also conjure it.
It's so good. It is so good.
I don't even think I wrote it. No. The thing I did write is the only thing standing in the way of living a better life is you. The only thing standing in my way was hate. The only thing standing in your way is you.
And she even says something about how when she very first walks into the trailer, she's like, this is exactly how I hoped it was.
Yeah. I like when she says, when I say it's just the way that I thought it was. So when I say this place is just like I pictured it, it's just like I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic scene. Well, to wrap up that, my honorable mentions for favorites was part of the montage when Ed and Annie are dancing.
Yeah.
Like I was crying through that whole montage. Yeah. And then Riley helping Aaron build the baby crib, right? Like, and then I also had as an honorable mention at Sunday Mass, the last morning Sunday Mass, when Warren catches Father Paul spiking the wine.
Yeah.
I loved that scene. Like, it was almost my favorite scene because Warren just like, you know, they need to fill the wine. And so he looks to Father Paul and he's like, do you have any more wine? Like, this one's like not full enough. And he says, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I'll meet you guys in the hallway. And so they go stand in the hallway and he looks at his like little incense burner and he goes, it's not lit. And Ooker's like, oh, sorry. And so he goes back to go relight it. He walks around the corner and Father Paul is pouring liquid out of a flask into the communion wine. And Warren like looks at it and then he just looks up and Father Paul's just looking at him. Just like they just like make eye contact. And he's still pouring it. And then he's just like puts it away. He's like, all right, let's go.
Yep, let's do it. So I had a little bit of a weird feeling about that. Because I was like, okay, so this is either constructing that Father Paul isn't following the word of God like he's supposed to because he's drinking.
Right.
Or that's not wine.
Oh,
and
right.
Yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, either that's not alcohol or he's corrupt. And I'm not sure which one of those things it is.
And I don't fucking believe it for a hot second.
And to come around to the scene with Riley's parents dancing. Riley's dad's healing that he went through in this episode, I felt like it was so subtle but so impactful at the same time because you know that like he is the provider for their family. And they mention a little bit earlier on, I want to say it's in episode 2, later on in episode 2 actually, when they're all on the boat. And Riley's like, oh, let me help you with that, Dad. And he's like, no, I've got it. He's fine. And he's like, well, but you're back. And he's like, it's fine.
Doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anymore. And then he's dancing with Riley's mom. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, all right, so his healing plot is so much more subtle, but also one of the most impactful ones out of all of them too.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's like he was about to not be able to work anymore.
Oh, yeah. And it changed his quality of life, too, right? You go from before Riley got out of prison, like the day before getting out of prison, right? And mom is talking to Riley on the phone and he wants to talk to Dad, to Ed. And so she goes to hand the phone and he goes outside. He just like holds up his pack of cigarettes, right? And goes like, could care less, right?
Yeah.
And you hear him out there, he's like hacking, right? And you can tell like he doesn't feel well, right?
Yeah.
Cut forward to this moment, more subtle moments of him starting to feel better, noticing that he's feeling better, reaching out to his son and having more heart-to-heart talks, and then turning on music and dancing with his wife because like that's what they used to do when they felt better. Did you also notice like Annie didn't need her reading glasses anymore?
I didn't notice that one. Yeah, I didn't catch that one.
Yeah. So at one point she like pricks her finger when she's like doing her quilting or whatever, and she looks at it and it's blurry and she like takes her glasses off and it's clear. And so and then when she's reading and stuff, she's not wearing them anymore.
Ooh, I like that.
There's a really cool side-by-side that you can look at. And it shows you all of the different characters on episode 1 and then like, I think episode 5, right? It's kind of like,
oh, okay.
So, and it's interesting to see because like the changes are so subtle, except for like Mildred, Sarah's mom.
Yeah.
Like Sarah's mom is the one who makes that almost complete 180.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like the two like most prominent ones are Lisa and Mildred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you know why?
Why?
They're the ones taking the most communion.
I know. That leads us to, okay, so we got to go through our scariest scenes from episode 3 first, which I don't have any.
Yeah, what?
I don't have any scariest scenes for episode 3. So
I do. I have an honorable mention for scariest scene. It's because, right. It was when Hassan is talking to Ollie because Ollie wants to go to Mass. Right. And so he's talking to him about it. And right before he goes to leave, he turns off Ollie's light and he just sees the creature like in the window.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, he just sees his like reflective eyes and he goes, what the fuck? And he turns the light back on and Ollie's like, what? He's like, nothing. And then he leaves. So
Yeah.
that was the only one that I like. That made me jump. I went, oh.
Yeah. And I think the give me out of him would be when Father Paul falls over and starts bleeding weird looking shit out of his eyes and mouth.
Yeah, he does. Does he? Yeah, he dies in episode 3.
Yeah. He like dies for a second and then he's like.
He dies for a minute.
Yeah.
Because he dies in front of Dolly, Wade, and Bev.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
it wasn't
funny.
really scary. It was just kind of stressful.
Well, and he'd already done it before. Like,
Yeah.
that was definitely like a finite. I'm trying to think about when I first watched it where I was like, oh shit, he's fucking dead. Oh
Yeah.
no, I did really like their reactions. Echo's like full turtle, just all 4 feet in the air. And she's passed out. That was definitely like another good honorable mention. That, or maybe like when I'm trying to think of what else. I'm trying to make sure it's not an episode 4 thing, and it's definitely episode 3.
I feel like what I'm collecting from watching Flanagan things at this point is that all of the scary shit must be saved for the end.
Yeah, for that like half. Well, it's
Yeah.
just a bunch of like little tiny jump scares and like little,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or like Tara Beth. Like every time Tara Beth pops up, that typically gives me like a little jolt.
Yeah.
I kind of appreciate that she's kind of always there.
When we talk about episode 4, I don't feel like I remember seeing her.
She definitely was in episode 3.
She was in episode 3, definitely.
I don't think she was.
But I don't think she showed up. We'll talk about it later.
We will. Well, honestly, I mean, I don't have any other honorable mentions for scariest for episode 3. So I'm wondering if there's anything else we want to talk about. I know a lot of things happened in there. Father Paul definitely came back in episode 3,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Did it end with him dying?
I think it
ended with him.
I think it did, but he had like started to come back. But he's not like in the in his room recovering until episode 4.
Right.
Yeah, I think it left off like somewhere in the middle of that.
Right, because I feel like episode 4 has a lot of content in it, but like there's no other death in episode 3
No, I don't think so.
other than Father Paul.
Yeah, other than Father Paul.
Yeah.
I will say with episode 3, I love the way that it starts to introduce what's about to happen in episode 4 by Father Paul gradually getting more and more ill like throughout the episode, because in the beginning he's not sick.
Yes.
And then he
I
like
appreciate
starts
that.
to have that like lightheaded situation that's going on. He
The
starts to
fainting
not
spells.
feel okay. Then he faints in front of the congregation. And then at the very end, he's like, oh shit, he did. And
Yeah.
he bleeding like pink gold from his eyes and mouth.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
and like when he healed Lisa, I think he ran out and like coughed up blood.
Yeah.
Right. So like, yes, definitely. He has like been getting more and more sick. And I believe in episode 3 too, there's 2 other things I think we should touch on in episode 3. One is I believe Father Paul at this point hasn't seen the creature in like a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because like this whole series doesn't happen in that much time. I'd say like maybe a month or 2, right? Like,
Yeah.
And so Father Paul gets the communion wine from the creature.
Yeah.
Right? We find that out in episode 4, but sorry, we can splice this wherever. But so he's like, you can obviously tell that he's fixing for something, and he's slowly running out of that communion wine because he's drinking it. So it's like, not only is he suffering some sort of like ill effect, but you can tell that he's also like running out of whatever this stash is that he has. Right. And
Yeah.
like, I think when he's getting more and more sick, Bev is trying to like feed him other things, and he obviously doesn't want them. Like he's like, oh, thank you, I'm starving. But then he won't eat any of it.
I think that happens at the beginning of episode 4. Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get into episode 4.
I think the only other thing that happens in episode 3 is I'm pretty sure that's when you find out for sure that he's actually Monsignor Pruitt.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about. Because I felt like that scene wasn't in either of our favorite or our horror or scariest parts, but it is like the kind of like the pinnacle question that's answered.
Yeah.
Right? Is what happened to Father Pruitt?
Yeah.
And basically the answer is Father Pruitt got lost in Jerusalem because he was very old and very feeble and very not in his right mind. And he got lost in a sandstorm. And then he found refuge in a cave that had opened up by literally like the sand just blowing off of it. And when he went in there, he found something.
Yeah.
He done found something.
He did the nasty with a vampire.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think they're framing it as this is an angel.
Well, that's what he assumed it was, right?
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I like this kind of comparison of angels and vampires.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are they, because like, if you think about it, an angel, what you would depict what an angel would look like, right? It's probably a lot more demonic than you'd think it would be, right? You know what I'm saying?
I picture like what people say the biblically accurate angel is, where it's just like a bunch of eyes and wings and like,
yeah, right. But I think most people would probably think like
human with wings,
Hercules, right? Like they would think of like Hermes with little wings on, right?
Yeah.
Like they would think of a person, like a human being with wings on, and like who's to say that like Father Pruitt at that moment probably thought that this is just a winged creature that looks somewhat human-like, must be an angel.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I kind of bounce back and forth between that like biblically accurate eye looking thing and then just like, if you've ever watched the movie Constantine, Tilda Swinton. Like to me, Tilda Swinton is an angel.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, as I think of Diablo.
Yeah.
Right? I think of like Tyrael.
Yeah.
Where like it's almost like a robed figure with like this big beaming light over, but you can't see there's no features available, right? It's all shrouded in like shadow.
Yeah.
But let's get into episode 4.
Let's do it.
Would you do your summary?
Yeah. So for episode 4, which is titled Book 4 Lamentations, the summary on IMDb is: Aaron turns to Riley after receiving upsetting news. Father Paul starts experiencing disturbing side effects. Bev makes a startling discovery. So I have to say, one of my parts of commentary for episode 4 is Samantha Sloyan murders the fucking shit out of Bev's role. She does it so well.
Samantha Sloyan is like a veteran of Mike Flanagan, and she's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a scene later on in the episode where I can't remember who it is that walks in. I think it's Wade and somebody
Sturge.
else. Yeah.
It's Wade and Sturge are typically the two that Bev uses like as her like cronies.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Wade's the fucking mayor.
Right. And so Wade and Sturge walk into Monsignor Pruitt's quarters and they see that Joe is dead on the floor and bled out, and there's blood all over Father Paul Monsignor Pruitt. I'm going to use them interchangeably at this point because we know the truth.
That was the ending to my story. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh, yeah. He does the nasty with
wrap-up.
the vampire, and then he like de-ages.
Well, yeah, because the vampire feeds him his blood.
Yeah.
And he de-ages as a result of that. And so he came back and he was like, well, I can't tell everybody I'm Father Pruitt again, so I'll just take on this Lazarus form of Father Paul. And he makes some reference in the Bible that I don't remember because who gives a shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
High brain, sorry.
Bible shit. Yeah. Yeah. So we know at this point they're one and the same.
Yeah.
There's even a picture of young Monsignor Pruitt on the wall that looks exactly like Father Paul.
Yeah.
And so Father Paul Monsignor Pruitt is leaned up against the wall, like kind of in a daze, it looks like, with blood all over him and
I
on
would
his
call
mouth.
that like a drunken stupor.
Yeah. Yeah. He's high on the good shit.
Yeah.
And Bev just like takes charge. She's like, oh, well, we got to get rid of this. And she manipulates the ever living shit out of them so easily, she's like, he did what God told him to do. Are you going to deny him of what God told him to do? Mm-hmm. Return all of his graces to him then, Wade, and let your little girl sit back down in that wheelchair.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I am also going to follow that up because I really like, I like that scene too, because I like Bev's reaction when she first walks in, right? Everybody's at Sunday Mass. Father Paul's / Pruitt is like a half an hour late. And so Bev is going to go out to go get him. And she walks in and she sees Joe's body and she sees Father Paul Pruitt and just goes, oh. And she kind of like the way that she kind of like looks away from Joe's body and just steps over him, right? Just like, oh my God, like what a piece of garbage, right? And then she goes over and she's like, immediately goes into this like, well, we're going to have to clean this up. You're going to, like, we can't do this. She says, everybody's waiting for you. Like you have to go to mass. And so he just like puts his hand in the sunlight and it starts sizzling. And she goes, oh, okay, well, you're going to stay right there.
Yeah. The way that she just is like, I swear she just like walks into the room and some like bionic thing inside of her analyzes the whole situation, analyzes what's going on with Father Pruitt. And she's just like, all right, well, this is what I have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if it would have been any other person other than Joe, maybe she would have cared a little bit more. Like if it would have been Lisa Scarborough on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Father Paul Pruitt is like the head all be all, but like that might be a little bit different. But it's fucking Joe. She hated Joe.
Yeah.
That's like literally trash at that point. And so like I liked when she calls Wade and Sturgeon, right? They see Joe, they have a very different reaction. Because even if like Joe wasn't their favorite person in the world, they knew him. And you could tell just the way that they reacted, right? And the way Bev is just like, all right, so you're going to wrap it up and then you're going to take it down to the marina and you're going to just like dump it like 5 miles, whatever. She lays out this whole plan. And Wade is just like, you want me to do what? Like, that's Joe Cawley. Like, Joe Cawley. And Bev says, like, yes, you're right. That is Joe Cawley. And he was like an awful person. He was a scourge on this town. He was a maimer of children. And now we need to get rid of him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And yeah, how quickly she comes up with the plan of like, oh, this is how we're going to get rid of his body. It's like, bitch, have you done this?
Oh, I'll say the only other part I will say for that scene is the final part of that little spanking that she gives to Sturgeon Wade. She says, blah, 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 but do not cherry pick the glories of God.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had to mention that Samantha Sloyan did such a good job. And I forgot that that's actually my favorite scene. So I'll do my honorable mentions really quick too. I did write just as a piece of commentary that, Aaron's mom was a fucking fuck. The more that we learn about her, the more I'm like, that is an awful human. Mm-hmm. Absolutely terrible human.
Could you imagine having her as a teacher?
God. She probably taught God.
Oh, yeah.
And then my other honorable mention for favorite scenes was the what happens when you die conversation between Aaron and Riley.
Definitely.
Because you get such a wonderful view of the juxtaposition between somebody who is of the faith and somebody who isn't. Mm-hmm. And I could see in what Riley was saying the same things that I feel, where it's like, oh, well, you know, these biological processes are going to happen. And then I'm going to have a flood of DMT and I'm going to be tripping balls. And it's going to be a montage of memory and dream. And they're going to run together and it's going to become one thing. And I'm going to experience this for X amount of time. And then it's going to stop. And then I'm going to start to decompose. And then those bacteria are still going to live and they're going to go and be a part of plants and this sort of thing. But like my experience is done.
Right.
And then you hear Aaron's part where it's like speaking for myself, which I actually am going to speak for my baby that is now no longer here.
Right. Yeah. She says, no, I'm not going to speak for me. I'm not the one who died today.
Yeah. I'm not the one who died today. I'm going to speak for Littlefoot. And says that, you know, they're going to die. They're going to get up to heaven. All of their family's going to be there. Their family's going to name them. And then in an instant, they're going to grow up and they're going to be able to like be with their family and be able to live in happy and harmony. And then at some point I'm going to be there with them and I'm going to be able to spend an eternity with my kid. Mm-hmm. And that scene, as somebody who is not religious whatsoever, gives me so much insight into why people feel driven to have that faith.
Absolutely.
Because they want to think that that's what's going to happen after this. Not everybody can digest what Riley believes.
Right.
And it made it a little, I don't know, it made it a little bit more impactful.
Absolutely.
Where I'm like, yeah, I align with what Riley believes, but I can understand how the thought of just everything being done can be really scary to people.
Well, and it just makes you feel like you don't have what's the purpose? What's the reason? Why even live life if there's no reason afterwards? Some people truly feel that. And so I totally understand why religion is a comfort. It's a place of community.
Yeah.
I really like how Erin ended her monologue of just, that is what heaven is. That is what God is. It is, you are not alone and you are loved. That's what that term means. And I'm glad we're talking about this. This is my favorite scene. It's my favorite scene of the entire show. And I found so many other really fine, cool details watching it this second time that I'm really excited to talk about.
Ooh, okay.
Because I also really liked that it was a contrast between Erin's faith and Riley's science-based faith, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of that duality. But then it's also this, like, when Riley is telling his story, it's not only like matter of fact, but he's telling it in a very kind of peaceful but also solemn way.
And it's poetic in the way that he presents it too.
Yeah, I like how it starts by, like, the shot starts with his whole body and then it ends on just his face. And at one point, like towards the end of it, he starts to like break down a little bit and his like voice breaks when he says that, like, when I'm dead and gone, like when it's curtain call, like I cease to exist. I no longer have to remember that I killed someone.
Yeah.
Right. That I took a life on this earth. And so then when he ends it goes from him kind of ending with this like relief of like, I can let go of this bad part of my life and finally be free. Right. And then it's contrasted with Erin, who's talking about her baby and dreaming and going up into heaven. And she's happy. She's smiling. She has a smile on her face the entire time she's talking, even though she's talking about something that is very, very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Riley celebrating relief and relinquishment, and it's Erin celebrating happiness and eternal life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also this idea of like Riley's trying to feel this release and this relief from guilt. And Erin has this idea, but this belief that like her daughter wasn't meant to live on earth to suffer. She was just here to dream, just for a little bit of time. And then God wanted her back. He called her back. Right. And I liked that retelling of it. And, you know, just kind of going up, being there in heaven, learning all about me, being at her perfect self, right? Finally being able to wake up, but not down here, up there. And one day I'll get to go be with her, just like you were saying. Yeah. It's a really, really beautiful monologue.
And earlier on in that episode, she says that like Littlefoot saved her life, and it gives a little bit more detail about what life was like when she was on the mainland and how she was with an abusive man and that she would have died in that house. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think she outwardly states this, but when she's going through her monologue about her belief about what happens at least when Littlefoot died, mm-hmm. it's very much so giving, they came down to save me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then now they didn't need to be born. And now they're back.
And now I'm saved, right?
Yeah.
I've come home. I have community. I have my faith back, right? Like all of these things. I appreciate that because backtracking just slightly beforehand, she's talking about her mother, right? You were saying like her mother's a big piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
Her mother forced her as a young 7-year-old child to hold pigeons while her mother clipped their wings, right? And when she didn't want to, she let one go. Her mother hit her. And she had said something. She had asked her mom why they're clipping their wings. And her mom said, we have to clip them so they don't fly away. And mom said, everybody gets their wings clipped at some point. And Erin says, and I, as a 7-year-old, asked the next thing that a 7-year-old would ask. Mommy, did you get your wings clipped? And she said, yep, the day you were born.
She's such a fucking terrible person.
No, she's a fucking asshole. But it's in this contrast of Erin saying, my mother thought I clipped her wings when I was born, and Littlefoot saved my life.
Yeah.
It's two completely different legacies.
Yeah.
But I like that you brought that up. Like, Littlefoot might have just been there just to get Erin to leave. this toxic, abusive relationship. And as sad as it is, and the more logical part of my brain is just like, one miscarriage has happened. Like it's very common just in real scenarios, not this like fantastical scenario that has another very specific meaning, right? Or a very specific reason why Littlefoot disappeared. Yeah. Right.
I am curious what narrative it is that they're going to drive. Whether
I'm not telling you.
Like, because in my mind, there's two ways this can go. It's either that like she was drinking the communion vampire blood, and because of that, her baby couldn't live and just like, I guess, disappeared because her body acts like she had never even been pregnant. Mm-hmm. So must have like rejected the baby and healed itself really quickly.
Right.
Or
either she miscarried and didn't remember, but that couldn't be possible.
It doesn't seem possible.
Unless like her labs lied, right? But like even that mainland doctor could have called Sarah, and Sarah could have been like, no, unless you're going to call me crazy, I've been monitoring her for the last X amount of weeks. Like she has been fucking pregnant. Like I'm. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can't, because the other thing is that it's like this communion is healing everybody. But like, this is what my thing was. Okay, so, and these could actually, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. The communion wine is healing everybody, but being pregnant isn't an injury or an illness. So I'm like, okay, so if it's healing everybody, and part of healing everybody was making Erin no longer pregnant, what does that imply for Erin's pregnancy? Does that mean that like maybe she wouldn't have had the baby anyway? Like maybe there was something wrong with it that like was going to cause her a lot of physical upset, and so the communion wine like caught that early and healed her from it,
right?
Or I don't know really what the thought process is there, or it's slowly turning her into a vampire too, or something like that, and so it's just like, well can't be a pregnant vampire.
I'm not going to give you any more context because I want you to like learn it. Obviously, both the doctors, both Sarah and the mainland doctor. Well, the mainland doctor thinks she's crazy. Yeah. The mainland doctor thinks she wasn't pregnant ever to begin with. Sarah knows she was pregnant and just basically thinks that she had a miscarriage and just doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And I think I had written down in here, I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to put in here, because that's definitely like my favorite scene there. I have 3 quotes in here. Yeah. I like what happens when we die. That's from Erin. And Riley says, I don't know, and I don't believe anyone who says they do.
Yeah.
Erin says, you are loved and not alone. That is what heaven is. Oh, and I just wanted to, because this moment specifically focuses on miscarriage. At this point, that's what we're going to assume it is. I wanted to just make a special little shout out to all the people who have personally experienced miscarriage, even by association, because it is something that is very common and not very regularly talked about.
Yeah. It is incredibly common. It's
incredibly common. Yeah. It happens all the time and for a lot of different reasons. And there's no shame in it at all. And all of those pregnancies are like worth something, right? Like, I truly believe in like those rainbow babies or angel babies, those who are not meant to live on this earth.
Yeah.
They were just meant to be here to dream.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that you learn in like anatomy, physiology, and then also like higher level biology classes is that the human body over time has evolved to have a more difficult time in pregnancy. We haven't evolved for creating or for reproducing to be easier because we have modern medicine to rely on now.
Right.
And so it's actually gotten harder and harder for humans to have babies. And as a result of that, miscarriages are more and more common.
Right.
And I really wish that the stigma around talking about it would start to dissolve, because I can tell you in my own personal experience, I know at least 5 women that I hold close to my heart that have had one.
Absolutely.
And I don't hold a lot of people close to my heart. So that says just how prevalent it is.
Definitely.
And the emotional bond that you create with your baby begins the moment you find out you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And that does not lessen that loss at all, that baby was never born. That is still a loss that you have to grieve. And
I just don't,
And it's hard because you're conflicted, at least what I've learned from the people who have experienced this is that you're conflicted because you're almost expected to have an easier time grieving and your grief should be lesser. And that's not at all what it was. You were creating a human and you lost it.
Absolutely.
Like you're burying your kid just like somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. In whatever time frame.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was important to bring up because like you were saying, there is a stigma around it. People don't talk about it. It's a good way to open up the floor. I've never personally, at least to my knowledge, experienced a miscarriage, but I know so many people who have. It is incredibly common. I'm actually a rainbow baby. My mother had a miscarriage before me. I know because she's told me. So it's always important to know that you're not alone.
Yeah. My mom is on a life-saving medication that she's been on since a few years before I was born. And she wasn't supposed to be able to have children either. And so,
but you were strong.
I was, I was just as strong-willed in the womb.
I'm not fucking going.
I tasted the medication, was like, no.
I know we went into that. We got lost in the sauce because that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Did you get through all of your favorites?
Yeah.
Like all of your honorable
I think inadvertently
mentions?
we talked about all of them too.
Okay.
So
let me see here.
It's hard with shows to like keep in our regular format because
I mean, but that's kind of the point, right? When we were doing our logos, we had like all of the different formats.
Yeah.
They're going to be different.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
So I had Aaron Riley's death monologue is my favorite. I had the sun mass reveal in the sunshine. I got that one. I got that one. So the last honorable mention that I had for favorites was when I think Father Pruitt is sick. And so he can't do his afternoon engagements. Right. And so he tells Bev like, well, I'm not going to miss one. Like there's one particular one I can't miss. And it's with my girlfriend. So it's when he goes to see Mildred to give her daily communion. And she calls him John again.
Yeah.
But this time she's completely more sane, right? This isn't like when she was old and decrepit and still in her dementia stage. She recognizes him. And when he comes in the room, she goes like, how is this possible? And he just says like, with God, all things are possible.
He says something to her also to the effect of like, we have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah,
And
like when they get to this moment where like they're both giddy and he's like, I can't wait. Like we have so much to catch up on. Yeah, I really like that moment. Like,
oh my gosh. And I totally forgot to even mention and this ties into this, but I totally forgot to mention for episode 3 when Sarah's mom was like, for a while it was like I was in the dark and I just came back.
Yeah.
And then now hearing the conversation with them, it's like, yeah, she's out of the dark now. And now she has a lot to catch up on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I will tell you, I really like that scene too. Cause it's like Sarah comes down and she's like, oh my God damn it. She was just like, it's like I'm speaking German. Right. Like she's like, and her mom's just like, her mom just says, I was in the dark, but then I opened my eyes. I saw my beautiful daughter, Sarah. And she starts to cry at her. And Sarah's just like, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they go and they embrace, right? And then her mom just goes, when did you move me into the living room?
Yeah, there's this truly like heartfelt, touching moment. And then, why am I in here?
I don't even know why I bother telling you things. Like, I'm speaking German.
It was so good. And then also thinking about how in this episode you find out that the communion wine is vampire blood. It makes me like cycle back to episode 3 when, all of these miracles are happening, and what it's doing is it's attracting all of these people to the church that weren't regular churchgoers. And so now all of these people are drinking the communion wine, and it's like, all right, how is this going to pan out?
Oh,
Are we about to have a Salem's Lot situation?
Oh, it's going to pan out. It's going to pan out. That's for sure. So that's all I had for scariest or for favorite. We're on to scariest.
Yeah. I only had one. I think it's the give me of the episode. And I labeled it in a really fun way.
What'd you label it?
Oh, shit. Bye, Riley.
Yep. That one's mine too.
Yep.
It's
the only like scary.
Well, and it's a shock too.
Yeah.
Like personally, in my opinion, like now that I've seen it, now that I've seen it before, it makes total sense. He needed to die at that moment.
Yeah.
The same with Joe.
He
right?
had to. He had too much.
Well,
he knew too much.
He knew too much.
Yeah.
Well, not only he knew too much, but like when you find out what happens after this, like what happens in these last 3 episodes, he needed to die. He needed to die then, right?
Ooh, okay. I'm excited.
Same with Joe.
Yeah.
Joe also needed to die when he needed to die. Not because like they would have come back and hurt other people or like they would have somehow been in the congregation. Like you'll find out. But like just because for Joe at least, his arc was over.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had quit drinking, had gone to AA, had realized his mistake, had been forgiven by Lisa. Now he needed to serve the other purpose of like kind of, well, I think his purpose honestly was that plot device for Father Paul. Because like Father Paul didn't really know what he needed.
No.
Until Joe came by.
Yeah, because the chicken ginger soup wasn't cutting it.
It wasn't cutting it, and neither was the communion wine that he was downing and drinking and running out of, right?
Yeah. And so if I'm going to make a guess about the reason why Riley had to die, which I know it's going to go into it and I'm going to be wrong, but if I had to make a guess about it, it is because he's too inquisitive. Like he already found out that Father Paul's lying because Father Paul says that when Joe doesn't show up to AA, that the reason why he's gone is because he's going and visiting his sister. Mm-hmm. But in episode 3, you find out that Joe's sister had just died a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And so there would be no way that he's going to go visit his sister.
Absolutely.
And so even when Riley goes and hugs his mom after she goes through this spiel about like how Father Paul is a saint and all this kind of stuff, he says, "Pray for me, but I know for a fact that Father Paul lied to me.
He lied to me tonight."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't go any further than that. He just says, "I know that he lied to me tonight." Mm-hmm. And that, to me, him knowing that and him being inquisitive about what exactly it is that Father Paul's doing, because he even has that moment where he's like, if you would have had Lisa stand up and you backed up and she couldn't make it, what would that have meant for you? Mm-hmm. So you had to know that she was going to be able to do this.
And that's like my favorite line of that episode, right? And he's like, "What are you asking me?" And he says, "I'm asking you, how did you know that?"
Exactly. And so I'm like, it's always the person that's asking the most questions and knows the most holes in the story that has to die. Mm-hmm. But I imagine because Riley also has so much more depth than just that there must be another plot device that he's going to be used for.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, because I like the way that your brain was going, but like, I think it's not obvious. Obvious isn't the right word, but like him dying because he like found somebody's hand in the cookie jar is like
it's too easy.
It's too easy, right?
Yeah.
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like, it's not that it's a cop out. I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to say, but like I can understand why your brain would go there, but it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
And you're gonna really like it. I think the only other thing that I have for Riley's death is my favorite line from that, which is just when, well, one, to back up, just before this, the only other part of that scene that I wanted to mention is Riley says, "You can pray for me, Mom, but Father Paul lied to me tonight." And he leaves and he walks down the street because he's going to go to Erin's house. That's what they had agreed on earlier that day. She had said like, "Hey, why don't you come back?" And he's like, "Okay, I will." And so he's standing outside of her house and he's about to go in. And then he looks at the rec center. And he's like, his fucking sister, huh? Right? And he's like, he can't let it go.
No.
He's just like, okay, I'm going to go confront him right now. Right? And the door is still open. the right before this, like Father Paul is struggling at the in the entertainment hall, and the creature comes, right? And he's like, where have you been? He's like, I ran out of the sacrament. Like, I need more. And so then the creature doesn't say anything. He just walks up and he cuts his arm open and he just starts bleeding into the carafe, I guess is what you'd call it. And Father Paul just like gets on the floor and just starts like doing his little angel prayer, right? And Riley comes in the door and like looks at the creature. And I don't know that he even says anything. Like, but Father Paul like turns around and looks at him and just goes, oh.
Yeah.
And the creature turns around and just like fucking just jumps onto Riley, starts eating him.
You just hear a lot of like.
Yeah, and he's got him pinned down, right?
Yeah.
And Father Paul just walks past. He makes eye contact with Riley. Riley's not getting away, and he just closes the door, and that's how episode 4 ends.
Yeah. That episode was nuts.
That was a huge episode.
That was so good.
Did you have any honorable mentions for scariest?
No.
So I had 2 of them. One of them, I don't know what scene this is from, but I literally wrote Bev equals Carmody.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's like a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I also really liked Joe noticing Father Pruitt in the newspaper.
Yeah.
When he goes over, I thought this scene was actually really fucking sad, if we're being honest.
Yeah, because he's reaching out in a moment of vulnerability.
Yeah. And he like went to the store, right? And I just felt so bad. So Joe goes to like the store and he's looking at the beer, right, in the case, and like he really wants it, but he's like, and you hear like Sheriff Hassan, and Hassan's like, how's it going, Joe? And he's like, hey, Sheriff. And this is the first time like he doesn't call him Sharif.
Yeah.
He calls him Sheriff, right? And he's like, how's it going? And he's like, good. How are you going? You know, there's still daylight outside. And he's like, yeah, I know that. I got it. And he says, how's my night going to be, Joe? And he just says like, okay, fuck it. And he leaves. And then, he goes to Father Paul because Father Paul told him, come to me if you ever need anything. Right.
Yeah.
But at the moment he shows up and he's like, I did really good. I didn't drink today. Like, but he can tell that like something's up with Father Paul.
Yeah.
Even from across the room, he's like trying to ask for support, but also like, but you're busy. And
yeah, but
like,
you're
like, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, but slowly like Father Paul coaxes him in the door, and then he looks over and he sees the newspaper, and it's Father Pruitt in the newspaper.
Yeah.
It's Father Paul because they're the same person.
And he's like, it's uncanny. Like, you could be his son.
So again, like caught in the cookie jar.
Yep.
Right?
One of those, now he knows too much.
Oh, now he knows too much, right?
Yep.
And I don't think that's what caused his death.
No.
That was purely from hunger. I don't know what it was where Father Paul like realized in this moment, like, oh, it's blood that I want. Oh, maybe it was because he cut his hand.
It might have been.
When he was, anyways.
I know that he like smells him too. Like he does a really
he gets super creepy, right? And he's like, before Joe tries to leave, he like really encourages that hug. Like,
yeah,
I love you, Joe. I'm proud of you. Like hug me,
and then it lasts an awkwardly long time.
Oh my God. And poor Joe. Joe's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like I'm trying to think to myself, like, if you and I hugged each other right now and you didn't want to let go of me, what the fuck would I do to get you off?
Where do you go?
I mean, honestly, I know you haven't seen that far into The Walking Dead, but the people who are listening to our podcast who have seen The Walking Dead know the Rick Grimes throat bite episode.
Oh, okay.
Where he literally rips a man's throat out, but then the dude's just like bear hugging him. And he's like, what are you going to do now? And Rick's just like, But anyways, which is a preamble to Joe's death. Joe's death is also an honorable mention for me. He has to wrestle Father Paul off of him, and when he does, he falls backwards and just cracks the back of his skull on the corner of a coffee table and just starts to seize and bleed out on the floor.
Yeah. It was a long death too.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like you would hope that shit like that would be quick, and it did not look quick.
It did not.
And as much as like Joe did bad things in his life, did not deserve to go out like that.
And he did bad things, but he was on his redemption. Like, I was liking him.
Oh, and I liked him almost the entire time. Like, he just seemed truly like a hick who thought he knew better.
And also, like, we're also taught that addiction, or people who are more informed are aware that addiction isn't showing somebody's true colors. Yeah. Addiction is clouding somebody's true colors, and you're seeing the drug and the act of addiction in action.
Absolutely.
And when that addiction is pulled away and Joe starts to sober up, and especially after the conversation with Lisa, you see a 180. It's like, oh, this is actually a really kind person.
He is. Absolutely. Oh, when he's walking with Riley, when they're talking in episode 2, right? Like, you can tell he's a good person. And when he's interacting with his dog, Pike. Yeah. And like, even when he's kind of an asshole to Hassan in episode 1 when he's calling him Sharif, right? And you can tell like he doesn't respect him, and he almost relishes the fact that he's not the only outsider in the town, right? And he can kind of rub it in a little bit.
There is a little bit of a camaraderie there at the same time.
Yes. But then there's also that 180 in episode 3 in that montage when he's drinking coffee with the sheriff in the morning. Right. And it didn't really seem like it was because he spent the night in the cell. Like, it might have been. Right. But like, it might have been also just because he wanted a friend. Yeah. And that was a friend that was available to him in that moment. So, yeah, that moment when like fucking Father Paul's just like grabbing on to the back of Joe's head and like sucking, and like poor Joe's just still seizing on the ground. Like,
oh my God, the finger looking good, where he just like puts his fingers in it and then like really grossly like licks at it.
Oh my God.
I was like, ugh,
oh my God. The thing that really got to me, if we're being totally honest, is his other hand on Joe's chest. Like
trying to push it out.
Or like also somewhat consoling him too. Like just was super creepy and gross to me, right? It's just like, okay, if you're just gonna let me bleed out on the ground, don't fucking touch me while you're doing it, right? Like,
don't try to make me feel good about it.
Yeah, like that's all. Where it was like this consoling gesture, but it really made me want to vomit. Yeah, but that's all I had.
I want to point out, nobody else can see it, but you can. Up here, when I was watching the episode, because there was like a lot of plot points that were happening, one right after the other. And then up here, I was like, oh, that's vampy blood in the flask, isn't it? And then a few more plot points. I was right. Arrow that goes back up to
there. That's fucking so great. I was right. Yeah.
One day I will publish my notes on the
Jesus Christ thing. Lord have mercy.
Okay. Episode 4 does have 2 pieces of trivia. So, when Father Paul pays a visit to Mildred to perform an at-home Eucharist, she is reading a copy of, quote, The Picture of Dorian Gray, a novel about a man who exchanges his soul for eternal youth and beauty.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't see that.
I didn't pick up that either.
And then the only other one is in Riley's bedroom, a poster of noted skeptic Detective Dana Scully from the X-Files hangs on the wall, mirroring Riley's own skepticism of the supernatural events of the island.
Yes. Yeah. There is one other thing I want to bring up before we end today. It kind of leans into the vampire story a little bit, but when Dr. Sarah, she tells Erin that she's miscarried, right, and that she can't find her baby, and she tells her that maybe we should take a blood sample and like we can send it to the mainland or do some tests or whatever, right? I'm pretty sure it's Erin's blood. There's the vial of blood that like gets left in the sunlight and like boils over and explodes. What'd you think about that?
That was really cool. But at that point, I already knew that like
there was other
vampire
indicators
shit going on. Yeah, but that was a really cool little sprinkle in there.
I brought it up because one, it'll come in later, but another thing that's kind of good to point out is that Dr. Sarah is formulating her own theories as well.
Yeah.
Because she's not taking any of these like isolated incidences and just being like, wow, that's interesting. Huh, that's interesting. Every single, like especially after Lisa, it's like, she's like, what the fuck is going on?
And she doesn't go to church. So she's not.
That priest comes to her house every day to give her mom mass though.
But she don't go, and she don't drink the Kool-Aid or the vampire blood.
The vampire blood Kool-Aid.
Yeah. But anyway, what doing?
I'm surprised she didn't wake up. What have I been doing? It's been a week now. I forgot to write it down this time, which is something I need to make sure that I do. I'm almost done with Sea of Stars. I'm like in the end game portion where they're like, you can go to the final boss battle if you want to. And I was like, I'm sure there has to be other shit that I have to do beforehand.
Yeah.
So I had to go online and like look up the like before final boss like side quest list. So
yeah,
I'm working through that. I finished a couple of books, which was pretty fucking cool. I finished V.E. Schwab's Vicious, which now I'm rereading with Harrison because I want him to catch up on it. So we've been like trading chapters every day. And then I also finished The Shining. Yee! Which was a fucking phenomenal book.
Yeah.
So much better than the movie.
So much better.
In so many different ways. And that could be its own episode if we're being honest.
It could.
So I will just say I loved the character development in that book. And I really loved anything having to do with the hedge maze animals, like the topiaries.
Yeah.
I ate that shit up.
And they are also some of the most frightening scenes
Definitely.
at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I really
ugh.
liked the ending too of like, you know, they get out of danger and then like Halloran's character goes up and like grabs the mallet out of the Roke thing and just starts to have these like thoughts, overlook hotel thoughts, right? Of like, oh, maybe it's because of that boy. It's his fault, right? And I thought to myself, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna go fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The book is so much better.
It's so much
I'm
better.
so glad though that you ended up reading it because The Shining is my favorite book, but it is like right below it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's cool that both of our favorites are by the same person and are both books that are monumentally better than the movies that are made after them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, I'm really glad I finally read it because it's definitely one that like never would have read. Just in general, just wouldn't have read it. And especially after watching the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like the movie kind of tainted it a little bit for me.
Yeah.
And the book is just, it's so different. It's so different. Like it's the character names are the same, sure, but the rest of it is completely it's completely better, like in every single way possible.
And I own it in every format. And I will say the narrator for the audiobook is phenomenal.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
So good.
I really enjoyed it. And I will tell you too, like I think I told you this. I rented The Shining from the library. And when I first rented it, I had to wait like 6 weeks to get it. And so when I finally got it, I was like, oh, perfect. I like downloaded it and then I started to listen to it. And it was a 5-minute sample. It wasn't the whole book.
Yeah.
And for a minute there, I was like, what the fuck? Why did I wait 6 weeks for a sample of something? And so I sent it back. And then I tried to rent it again. I had to wait 8 weeks.
That's so fucked up.
So the moment I remember like getting the notification and I was like, is it just the 5-minute sample? Right. And I like turned it on and it actually started the audiobook from where I had finished it at that 5-minute mark. And I was like, oh, here we go, bitch. And I swear to God, I finished that book in like 5 days. I was like, you're not going to take it from me. I'm going to fucking finish this. I get it for 21 days, but I finished it in 5.
Hell yeah.
And now I'm on to Vicious's sequel, Vengeance.
Sick.
So yeah,
Sick.
I'm on that. And then the final thing I've been doing is I've gotten back into leatherworking.
Sweet.
So yeah, we've set up a new station in our kitchen area. And I've been working on a couple of knife sheaths.
Sick.
Yeah. What doing?
So after we were done podcasting last week, I went home and I like started to chat with Mom a little bit about her day and catch up. And I realized that I had just been like socially capped out. And And so I like struggled through work on Friday because I'm in a customer facing role. So I do have to show up and be present as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I struggled through Friday. And then I was like, I am canceling all of my plans for this weekend. I had like 3 different plans with friends. And I was like, I'm canceling all of it and I'm going to be dead to the world this weekend.
Yep.
And so I ended up, for the most part, just staying at home and reading. That was like the whole weekend. Ugh. I only stopped reading to make food. And I made sure that the food that I was making through the weekend also was like nourishing. It was very healthy. It was a lot of fish and vegetables and salad and that sort of stuff. And so I was refueling my body in a really nutritious way, and I was refueling my mind by just reading and allowing myself to completely check out.
That's fantastic.
And I ended up reading The Gunslinger and starting The Journey to the Dark Tower.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it was so fucking good. And I'm currently reading the second one. And then I finished Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. And that was a really touching isn't even really the word. It was just a really beautiful insight into the struggles that somebody who is facing their bisexual identity faces, especially in like the early 1920s when it's not something that was really accepted.
Right.
Not to say that it's any more accepted now. That bisexual people even have issues within the LGBT community with erasure of their identities. And so it was just a really cool window into the experiences that somebody would have in that time, where essentially this American man goes to Paris and he is there and he has a woman that he is eventually hoping to marry. They are engaged, but after they get engaged, the woman is like, I need to go somewhere and think for a little while and like make sure that this is what I want to do. And so she flies from France to Spain. And she's going to stay there and just kind of like think and live and experience things and see if that's really the way that she wants to continue her life. And meanwhile, he ends up meeting this guy at a bar named Giovanni. And they start like, it's like a right off the bat, beautifully romantic relationship, but it's very tumultuous and it starts to get very rough on both of them pretty quickly. And it's just the story of how that develops. And then when his fiance comes back and how that pans out. And at the very beginning, you're told that Giovanni is in prison and he's going to be executed. And you learn not until literally the like very last 2 pages why it is that he is going to be executed.
Damn.
And it just such a good book.
Those bastards.
It was so beautifully written. His prose is phenomenal. He knows his way around a comma. He uses the hell out of a comma. But it was just a magically written story.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Giovanni's Room.
Giovanni's Room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really good. And then aside from The Gunslinger right now, I am reading another book. I got influenced by TikTok, whatever. But I had a day yesterday where I was feeling like I just wasn't happy. And I've had a lot of these days recently where I'm kind of having conflict in my head between the life that I'm living right now and the life that I really want to be living.
Yeah.
And part of it is that like I'm in a job where I'm in a fishbowl all day and I'm customer facing and I'm in the service industry, and it's monotonous, but it's also like so draining to be doing that all the time. And I know that my dream is to be working outside and connecting with nature, or to be doing a remote job where I can make enough money to have a piece of property that's away from people and be able to work outside on my own piece of land and all that kind of stuff. And I've been trying to find a way to just work through that and try to mesh those dreams into my current space. And it just doesn't seem like it's really working. And so I had that day yesterday where I was just done with it. And I'm like, I hate my job. I hate what I'm doing. I'm not living the life that I want to live. And I think a big part of it is that I'm not using the free time that I have at work in a way that feels fulfilling.
Right.
And I've gotten so in the weeds with it that like I don't even really feel like editing anymore at work. Like I feel like all I can do is just dissociate, and that's the only way that I'm getting through it.
Sure.
And so I picked up this book that TikTok influenced me to get, and it's called The Artist's Way, and it's essentially a class that was taught by this person who was telling people that there is a method that you can take or a method that you can adopt in order to unlock creativity in yourself and to kind of like recenter yourself with the creative guide.
Yeah.
And I'm not very far into it, but you have weekly readings, and then daily what you're supposed to do is wake up and before you start your day, just write 3 pages.
Yeah.
And it can be whatever you want. It can even just be, I don't know what to write for 3 pages, but you have to wake up and do it. And you have to do it every single day. And you're not allowed to even look at these pages until the 8th week. So you just write it and then turn the page and don't look at it again.
Right.
And so that's part of it. Another part of it is that you have to do these things that are called artist dates. And it's where you are taking you and your inner artist out for something that's going to be enriching for the artist.
Yeah.
And so instead of going and doing something that is like, oh, I'm going to go, I'm trying to think of a good option. I'm going to go and like have dinner with a friend or something like that. No other person should be involved in your artist date. It should be what you need to do to what they refer to as fill the pond, which is the inspiration that you draw from.
Right.
And so it's like, they talk a lot about like, it's going outside, or it's like going to a museum, or it's like going to an aquarium, going somewhere that like the inner child, which is ultimately your inner creativity, gets to experience and gets to feel nourishment.
Yeah.
And so those are the 2 things that I'm going to start trying to adopt. And that's supposed to happen weekly. And it's supposed to be like 2 hours. You're supposed to go do something with yourself for 2 hours.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And so I started this morning. I wrote down my 3 pages. And I was surprised with how easy it was. But I wrote 3 pages, and then I felt so much better walking into today, just knowing that like all of the things that were clouding my brain and were just causing me all of this strife yesterday, I was able to leave on the page and just focus on today.
Yeah.
And I know there's, people tell you all the time that like journaling's good for you and that sort of thing. But I think there is something to be said with just first thing in the morning, taking all of that shit, throwing it out, and just being like, all right, now I can focus on today.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fantastic mantra and a fantastic ritual to adopt. I'm excited to see how you feel in 2 months, because 8 weeks 2 months is not that long.
No,
It really
it's not
isn't.
bad at all. So I'm hoping that not only does it allow me to feel like I can use all of that free time at work in more creative ways, but also that I find ways to start implementing the life that I want to live into my daily life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Echo.
Are you ready to
Are
go?
you ready to go bye-bye?
Do you?
Echo, do you want to go? She's like, oh, I'm getting up. Echo, can you come in?
She's like, oh, hell yeah,
Oh,
bitch.
hell yeah.
I want to get out of here.
Yeah, brother. Good stinkos. All right, have a good night.
All right, bye.
Hey, everybody, it's Karina. I'd like to tell you of a couple of announcements. We have got a Patreon now. You can subscribe at patreon.com/itsalwaysspooky. For $5 a month, we will be having some very special features, so stay tuned for those. Starting with every week, we'll be posting what episode we're planning on doing, so please make sure that you post your scariest and your favorite scenes so that we can feature them in the episode. If Patreon isn't your speed, you can also send us a tip on our Ko-fi account. That's kofi.com/itsalwaysspooky. Please, please, please also email us your spooky stories and any recommendations to itsalwaysspookypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much.
It's always spooky.